used to go out in our town. We go to the pub till the pub shut down. He smashed the piano, no money for bands. Karaoke led the way, bland leading the bland. We used to go out in our town. The halls are quiet now, shows don't come around. Ran the bar, the place was full, council paid the fees. Corporate greed with slash and burn brought our culture to its knees. What would William say if he could see England today? What would William say? What would William Morris say? Hark the wind in the elm boughs, from London it blows and tells us of gold and of hope and unrest, of power that helps not, of wisdom that knows, but teaches not all, of the worst and the best. We used to see farms from our town, but now it's all warehouse, industrial ground. Radio screams split the air, lame electric lungs. Liars all spit politics with poison on their tongues. What would William say if he could see England today? What would William say? What would William Morris say? The wind bears a message, rise up on the morrow and go your own way to the doubt and the strife. Join hope to our hope and blend sorrow with sorrow, and seek for men's love in the short days of life. Come back to the inn, love, the lights of the fire, and the fiddler's old tune, and the shuffling of feet. For there in a while shall be rest and desire, and there shall tomorrow's uprising be sweet. What would William say? What would William Morris say? Thank you very much. That's a co-write between me and the 19th century painter, poet, wallpaper maker, William Morris. I realized after I'd written that song that it's one of about 10 songs I've written about historical characters who've been immortalized in Wetherspoon's pubs. So for you Radio 3 listeners, that's song number 1 in my Wetherspoon suite. Thank you very much. I realized this when I played a song in Croydon. It's a song I written called A Song I Writ. Did I just say that? I did. At Shrewsbury. It's a song I writ I think I'll say that again. It sort of feels good and it's kind of rebellious. I wrote this song called Flora Sands, the Ballad of Flora Sands, and it's about the only woman to fight during the First World War, and she lived for a while in Croydon. And I asked the Croydon audience if they'd heard of Flora Sands, and somebody shouted out, "No, but I know the pub." So I thought, oh, it's a Wetherspoons. So I came up with this, what I thought was a great idea, to do a tour of Wetherspoons pubs. So I phoned them up. And of course, you know, one of the great things about Wetherspoons is they don't have music, or at least they don't have music that you don't want to listen to. And he said, "Really sorry, but you can have a free meal." Now there's a mixed blessing, if ever there was one. So next time I was in Croydon, I set off for the Wetherspoons, the Flora Sands, and I went down there and it was closed. I even had a copy of my CD just in case they thought I was trying it on, you know. The old Reg Meuross free meal scam. You'd have to be really desperate, wouldn't you? So this song, as far as I know, this is about a bit of a hero of mine, and as far as I know, he hasn't had the ultimate Wetherspoons tribute just yet. It's a song about Tony Benn and the suffragette Emily Davison. And when Tony died, I was reading the obituaries, and I found out that at some point in his life he'd made a tribute to Emily. As you may know, on the eve of the national census, before Emily died. Emily died famously under the King's Horse at the Epsom Derby, but 2 years previous to that, on the eve of the national census, she spent the night secretly under the House of Commons in a broom cupboard. So the next morning, when asked to give her address, she could give her address as the House of Commons. One of the many things she did that led to the women's vote, and so an amazing woman and worth remembering, not just for her death. And Tony made a promise to the Speaker of the House of Commons that he'd make a tribute to her, and he had a plaque engraved with the details of her sleepover, and then he secretly fitted screwed the plaque to the inside of the broom cupboard where she spent the night. And I found out recently that he was assisted in this heinous crime by Jeremy Corbyn. So Jeremy is bad after all, but in a good way, I like to think. So for want of a snappy title, this is called Tony Benn's Tribute to Emily Davison. She slips through the doorway, away from the crowds down the stairs. She steals through the night, just a plain-looking woman, concealed in her coat and her cares, pursuing her right. Down a tangle of corridors, furtively turning the locks, the day growing dim. Footsteps in the distance, she hears the men coming her way. The last door gives in. There in the dark, with the mops and the brooms, she opens her handkerchief, makes herself room, with a small piece of bread and a small piece of cheese, and a jar filled with water between her knees. By the light of a candle, she reads a small book and she waits. And she waits. On the 3rd day of April, 1911, she woke. and she gave her address. These houses of commons, houses of men, and now me. She smoothed down her dress. I'm not asking for favors, just claiming what's rightfully mine. She cried to the world. To rebel against tyrants is to show your allegiance to God. She cried as she fell. 100 years later, he slips down the stairs and he senses her purpose. He breathes in her air. He's made her a sign which he nails to the door. He knows the equality Emily gave her life for. By the light of a candle, he honors her flame and he waits. And he waits. And he waits. Thank you very much. Thank you. This next song, I was out in Germany last year and I made an album out there. And while I was there, I was staying in a hotel and I had a text from a friend of mine who's a nurse at Preston Hospital. And she titled her text, "The Power of Music." And the reason was that she'd arrived at work that day to find that her hospital had declared a state of emergency, in spite of the fact that on her way in, radio spokesman had said there were no hospitals under a state of emergency. Somebody was lying. Can you believe that? And so she put her headphones in and did what those amazing people do, and she got on with her job. And she sent me this text. And so that night I was in the hotel and I thought, well, I'll do what I do and I'll lend her some support and I'll write her song. So I went and I was writing away in the corner and I realized the Germans at the bar were paying no attention to me at all. So I went and got my guitar. And I got the guitar and I'm sitting there in the corner of a German bar, you know, sort of strumming away. And a big German at the bar says, "Ah, guitar." I said, "Yeah, Beatles songs." He says, "Ah, Beatles songs, very good, more beer." So as far as the Germans are concerned, this is a Beatles song. Please don't tell. I've got a money spider on my microphone. What do I do? That solved it. Oh no, it hasn't. It's going for my face. Well, if I choke halfway through this song, you know what it is. Well, I didn't hear that. I'm deaf. Write a song. She grabs a cup of coffee, drops the kids to school, pulls into the car park, but every place is full, so she blows an hour's wages on a public parking lot. That's another little piece of her the government has got. The drivers sit in silence, clutching mugs of tea. "What's up?" she says. "No beds," they say. "It's a state of emergency." So she pulls her coat around her, puts her headphones in. There's only room for music underneath this skin. She's the queen of soul, the diva of distress. Compassion makes her whole. She's an angel in a blue, blue dress. A brand new friend is dying. Last night her best friend died. If it wasn't for the music, she knows she would have cried. She knows about the sickness, the loneliness and pain. She knows what doesn't break her will soon come round again. She's the queen of soul, the diva of distress. Compassion makes her whole. She's an angel in a blue, blue dress. She's the queen of soul, the diva of distress. Compassion makes her whole. She's an angel in a blue, blue dress. Thank you. Thank you very much. Spider's found a home somewhere. Who knows where? Let's hope it's not a tarantula. There's a lot of movement going on. Well, I suppose it's Monday. So a few years ago now, I discovered this scheme called the Rural Touring Project. And I toured all over the country, and one of the places I played, it was an Arts Council funded scheme designed to bring otherwise unaffordable entertainment to the villages. Thank you very much. And we played, at that time I was working with a guy called Hank Wangford, who you might remember. Hank's an English country singer, and Hank at the time had a new album out called Best Foot Forward. And the cover of the album was a picture of Hank dressed in his cowboy gear, on a horse, playing a ukulele up in the mountains, like you do. And I thought, great image, on the road image, I'll Photoshop, well, same thing really. I'll Photoshop myself onto the back of the horse wearing a nice red cowboy shirt playing a banjo. So I did, and then we showed it to the original artist, and he said, I like that. He said, I'll do you a banner, and you can take it on the road with you. And for some reason, he hadn't painted a head on this horse. Maybe he just wasn't very good at horses' heads, but there was no head. And so for that reason, I thought we'd call our tour Hank and Reg Head Off. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. No, I'm not. So we set off, and the first gig we did was down in Constantine in Cornwall. We realised very quickly that this rural touring thing was very local. And we were packed out in Constantine, and the next night we were playing in Gweek. Yeah, Gweek. There is a place called Gweek. And Seal Sanctuary, exactly. So we said to the people of Constantine, if you've got any mates down in Gweek, do send them along, because there's a few seats left. And this audible hush crept through the room. And the voice said, "We don't go down there. They eat their babies down there." We got down there and thought they might, you know. But anyway, we continued, and the very last gig we did was up in was this right? At one point, there was always somebody who would say, "Why is your tour called Hank and Reg Head Off?" So what was clearly a brilliant oral joke, not so good visually. And so we played a village hall on Exmoor in a small village called Luckham. Anybody from Luckham? I asked that question the other day, and a guy said, no, but I knew an old lady from Luckham. You'll have to finish that yourself. I'm far too polite, but I have finished it. You can ask me privately later on. And Luckham Village Hall, we drove past it 3 times. We thought, this can't possibly be this. This is clearly a public toilet. But it was, so we took our PA in, took it back out again, won't be needing that. And we're standing there whiling away the afternoon, and this typical Exmoor farmer comes in, and he walks, and he's got his little tweed cap and his wellies on, and he goes, afternoon, yeah. And we go, afternoon? Well, not quite like that. Good afternoon, sir. And he disappears through a little side door, and after a moment, we hear a chain flush. Luckham Village Hall doubled as a public toilet during the day. And that night, we were playing to a packed house in Luckham, 22 people. And afterwards, we were having a drink celebrating our Big in Luckham tour. And the promoter sheepishly says, actually, guys, he said, the hall holds 24. So we had to face the fact that we were playing a public toilet on Exmoor and we couldn't even fill it up. So we changed the name of our tour. Rather than mourn this fact, we thought we would celebrate, and we changed our name to No Hall Too Small. And we finished up in a small town up in village called Epworth. Anybody from Epworth? Not such a good limerick, but Epworth, you're from Epworth. Bless you. Well, we played Epworth Village Hall, and we Saturday night, packed out. Next morning, we set off in search of breakfast. And the only place we could find open on a Sunday was Morrison's Cafe. I can't recommend it at all. And we're standing there waiting for our breakfast, and I see this person. To this day, I don't know what gender this person was, but I'm going to say she, because she was wearing an Elvis Presley wig, wrap-around Elvis-style glasses, a showbiz fur coat, not any old fur coat, a proper rock and roll fur coat, and then nothing on her legs but some Argyle socks and some Winklepicker shoes. It was the legs that made me think she might be female, or a postman. So she comes over, and I said, look, Hank, it's Elvis, he's alive. And in drag, and having lunch in Morrison's Cafe. And Hank's got his camera, and he's taking pictures, and then I see this other person who, to me, looked very much like the 1960s, 70s singer-songwriter Phil Ochs. You'll remember Phil Ochs, contemporary of Bob Dylan's, great singer-songwriter, sadly died in the 70s. But this guy had the same kind of haunted look about him, the poet, and he had his straggly grey hair, and he was about the age Phil would have been if he'd lived. And a little corduroy cap and a corduroy suit. Not kind you see anymore, but might have been just the thing back in Greenwich Village back in the 60s. And he comes and sits with Elvis. And I said, look, Hank, it's Phil Ochs. He's alive and having lunch with Elvis in drag in Morrison's Cafe. What are we going to do? And we got pictures, and sadly, me and Hank fell out after that, and he won't show me the pictures, but they do exist. And so I came away with the idea of this song, and then much later on, I wrote it down, and this is the song. It's called Phil Ochs and Elvis Eating Lunch in Morrison's Cafe. See what I did there? Songwriting tip. So it has a chorus. Those of you who know Phil's oeuvre will know that his big hit was There But For Fortune. So when I get to that bit, what follows is the chorus. So do join me. Pay attention first. Remember the words, then we'll sing it all together. Or we'll have a staring competition. When she came and sat behind me, I knew something wasn't right. The dye had washed out of her hair, her face was pale and white, and the legs she shambled in on, beneath her shabby dress, were wearing alligator shoes and socks from M&S. A man sat down beside her, He looked familiar too, like a Greenwich Village poet, circa 1962. Dressed from head to toe in corduroy, wayfarers on his head, ignoring one another just like both of them were dead. There but for fortune and common sense, they say. Phil Ochs and Elvis eating lunch in Morrison's cafe. Okay, you ready? There but for fortune and common sense, they say. Phil Ochs and Elvis eating lunch in Morrison's cafe. Brilliant. In a wraparound, dark glasses with a light adjusting lens, she was hiding more than tired eyes from onlookers and friends. There was something in those fingers that worked the forks and knives, as if they'd once worked magic in other people's lives. There but for fortune and common sense, they say. Phil Ochs and Elvis eating lunch in Morrison's cafe. I tried to move in closer. There was a smell of Vaseline and the scent of faded legends just off the M18. For a moment life seemed simple, fear and pain were swept away when Phil and Elvis ate their lunch in Morrison's cafe. There but for fortune and common sense, they say. Phil Ochs and Elvis eating lunch in Morrison's cafe. There but for fortune and common sense, they say. Phil Ochs and Elvis eating lunch in Morrison's cafe. Since my baby left me, I've found somewhere else to stay. Thank you very much. Oh, look, if you're going to leave, can you wave goodbye or something? You make me feel... Oh, thank you. God bless you. See you again. Miss you already. That's better, isn't it? That's kind of nice. Otherwise, you think, oh, God. What did I do? What did I say? So I carried on doing this rural touring on my own and with various other people. And this song is from a gig I did up in Hempstead in Essex, and where I played the Bluebell Inn, which is shout for the Bluebell Inn, lovely venue, yes. And okay, steady now. The Bluebell Inn was the birthplace of the Highwayman Dick Turpin. This is in spite of the fact that there was a cottage across the road called Dick Turpin's Cottage. Fear and Loathing in Hempstead. And anyway, I was reading a sign on the wall about the hanging notice for Dick Turpin, and the landlord challenged me to write the true story of Dick Turpin. So I did, and this is it. It's called Lizzy Loved a Highwayman, and especially for the guy who asked for it earlier on. And for the rest of you, of course. Don't feel left out. Poor Lizzy loved the highwayman. She gave him all the young girl can, and in return he gave her a widow who from the bell at Hampstead born to trade, butcher's axe and a butcher's blade, and his childhood bride the picture made complete. But Lizzy's mother understood that boy would come to nothing good. An apprenticeship in bone and blood won't lead my girl to motherhood. Didn't he look fine in church today? In his buckled boots and his fustian coat and his feathers blue and grey. Young Richard joined the Gregorys, all Essex boys, the lowest thieves. They robbed both rich and poor for greed and gain. They broke into their homes at night, regardless of their means or might. They'd rob or scold or set alight those poor souls who put up a fight. No honor bound those desperate men, they robbed both enemies and friends. They sold their souls for liberty and gold. But Lizzy's dreams of home gave way to cold nights in a forest cave, to a husband who she couldn't keep, who killed his friend and ran away. On a stolen coal black mare called Bess, they say, by a full moon's arc he rode to York, 200 miles away. With a bounty high he changed his name. He robbed the deer and the horse and game, and left his father to take the blame to jail. Till one day the landlord's bird he blew. The landlord cried, "Dick, I know you." And again the drunk his pistol drew, saying, "Let me charge and I'll shoot you too." From his prison cell he sent a note to his brother, and inside he wrote, "Fine men will stand good witness to my name." But he wouldn't pay the postage due. The letter fell to one who knew the writing of the one whose fame had brought the Turpin house to shame. But didn't he look fine in court today? In his buckled boots and his fustian coat and his feathers blue and grey. Dick Turpin paid 5 men to mourn, in new coat and shoes stepped out at dawn. Like a gentleman he bowed along the way. He stepped up to the hangman's gate and felt his leg begin to shake. He stamped the fear, and with his friend the hangman half an hour he spent. And with a proud and noble air he leapt from that 3-legged mare, and for a while he dangled free, his feathers kissed by morning air. But mother, didn't he swing well today? In his buckled boots and his fustian coat and his feathers blue and grey. They buried Turpin's body deep, but when the town was fast asleep, the body snatchers stole his corpse away. But an angry crowd, friends to his fame, in preservation of his name, saved him from the butcher's blade and laid to rest the highwayman. They gave his ring and handsome clothes away, and another woman's tears fell on his feathers blue and grey. Poor Lizzy loved a highwayman. Thank you. Thank you very much. This next song is another request. Is a song called "My Name Is London Town." Bye bye. Love you. So many friends. So, and this song I wrote just about some memories I had of living in London. I lived in London for 20 years, and when it came out, I had a few plays on the radio, and as a result, I had some emails of complaint. They're all from the same bloke. And I won't tell you now what he was complaining about, but I will ask questions at the end. So see if you can guess. He actually wrote to me 3 times. For anybody who gets that upset about a line of a song is clearly dangerous. So I answered him. So here we go. I've been struck by the wind coming in from the east that strips a grey river and stretches your skin. I've been choked by the engine and choked by the beast, breathing fire and pollution and pleasure and sin. I'm the cry of the gulls from St. Catherine Docks. I'm the cry of the Smithfield Fishmonger at dawn. I'm the sharp-suited broker who steals like a fox to the stock exchange floor to sell coffee and corn. My name is London Town. I'm your vision going up, I'm your nightmare coming down. I'm the Westminster fool, I'm the Pentonville clown. My name is London Town. I'm the bundle of rags in the Oxford Street doorway, ratted and matted and shivering with cold. I'm the homecoming sunset that lights up the westway. I'm the Union flag, I'm the red, green and gold. I'm the dome of St. Paul's and the Regent's Park Mosque. I'm the Temple, the Arsenal and White Hart Lane. I'm the bomb in Victoria, the fire at King's Cross. I'm the 9 o'clock donkey and the 10 o'clock train. My name is London Town. I'm your vision going up, I'm your nightmare coming down. I'm the Westminster fool, I'm the Pentonville clown. My name is London Town. I'm the immigrant town, I'm the city of night, of carousel dreams, of beauty and pain. My streets paved with gold from the bold highway meters, Dick Whittington's ghost in a no-turning lane. My name is London town. I'm your vision going up, I'm your nightmare coming down. I'm the Whitechapel murderer making his round. My name is London Town. My name is London Town. Thank you. Well, Smithfield, I think, is a consensus, yes. I sang Smithfield Fishmonger, and of course Smithfield is a meat market. And the fish is in Billingsgate, but there was a syllable issue. So I did a bit more research and I found out that Smithfield was actually built as a meat and fish market. Yep, and the very first industrial food freezer ever built was built to freeze the fish at Smithfield Fish Market. So you can imagine how smug I felt. And he was so apologetic he brought 3 copies of my CD, available in the Roots tent. So, I don't have a lot of time, so I'll do a new song, and the one that you can sing along with. I'm over in Sabrina. Sounds so exotic, doesn't it? I'm with Sabrina, or in Sabrina, I don't know which is the correct way of saying this, but I shall be enveloped by Serena in one way or another at 2:30, so do, if you want to come over, do come. But I'll do this song. This is a new one. It's called "The Eyes of Ida Lewis," and I was just kind of looking at Googling like you do, and I found this story about Ida, who back in the turn of the 19th, 20th century was known as the most famous woman in America, and she was famous because she was a female lighthouse keeper. At Rhode Island Lighthouse and the entrance to New York. And she became famous because of the amount of lives she saved. And of course, the location, lots of dignitaries would come and visit her. And now it seems pretty much unheard of. Everywhere I go, so I thought, well, it's time to give Ida a bit of a heads up. So here you go. This is the chorus. I'll show you the chorus, and then we'll sing it together. Row, Ida, row, row me to your light. Row, Ida, row, keep me safe tonight. Is it too hot for hand movements? Oh, you did it. So, row, Ida, row, row me to your light. Row, Ida, row, keep me safe tonight. I just want to see you do that. It's so flipping sweet. Okay, you got it. Row, Ida, row, row me to your light. Row, Ida, row, keep me safe tonight. I think you can divide the world into people who will do hand movements and people who say, hang off, Reg. I fell in love with Ida on the day I went to sea, when she pulled my stupid friends and me. She said I'm far too young to marry, but I keep you in my sight, and I bless the eyes of Ida before I sleep at night. Row, Ida, row, row me to your light. Lovely. Row, Ida, row, keep me safe tonight. People looking in are going to say, oh, Reg has got some kind of nautical workshop going on in there, a rowing workshop. As strong as any sailor, as brave as any man, why risk your life for fools, she said, because I can. They traveled miles to praise her, and she shyly took her bow. She said, I never made a speech in my sweet short life, and I ain't gonna make one now. Row, Ida, row, row me to your light. Row, Ida, row, keep me safe tonight. All alone in a lighthouse, all her life no union bliss. The only bells that ring for Ida ring a sweet, sad soul to rest. Row, Ida, row, row me to your light. Row, Ida, row, keep me safe tonight. I fell in love with Ida on the day I went to sea, when she pulled us from the water, my stupid friends and me. She said I'm far too young to marry, but I keep you in my sight, and I bless the eyes of Ida before I sleep at night. Row, Ida, row, row me to your light. Row, Ida, row, keep me safe tonight. Row, Ida, row, row me to your light. Row, Ida, row, keep me safe tonight. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye. See you later. Bye. Bye. Great to see you again. Thank you. Okay, look, I'll finish up with this. This is another request. This is a song called England Green and England Grey. Thank you. If we could have lighters with it, this would be the time, wouldn't it? I missed that. Too late. So this is beginning of last year, I did the BBC radio folk show, and if you do the BBC and you have a bit of an opinion, they like to know what you're planning to do, especially if it's live radio. And I said, well, I'd like to do this song. It's my song, knowing it had been banned by the BBC. See what would happen. And they said, well, hasn't that been banned? And I said, well, I don't think it's actually on the official banned list, but you wouldn't let me sing it during the general election. But there's no general election now, so what about it? And so So they said, well, the BBC has a right to reply policy, so if you want to sing, if you want to express your opinion on the BBC, then we're obliged to offer a right to reply to those of an opposing opinion. I said, great. I'm dying to hear that Tory folk song. And they couldn't find it, so they had to let me do it. So this is it. It has a chorus. Thank you very much for coming out. Thank you for staying. Oh, look, somebody's got a torch. Oh, it's the digital age. Gorgeous. Thank you. And I'm over there, and my CDs are out there, and I'm on the road, and the 12 Silk Handkerchiefs tour, that will be going. So just have a look on the website. That's the best thing. Here we go. Here's the chorus. It's a fly. No, it's a spider. Oh, no. How shall I catch it? You wait till it gets to the horse bit. England green and England grey, look out on a summer's day, to all things bright and fair and gay. To my home, my love, my England. I believe in dignity, rich or poor, we're all born free. Austerity and slavery, I thought they were behind us. I don't believe the BBC, anarchy or monarchy, or an empire built on piracy. By our history you'll find us. England green and England grey, look out on a summer's day, to all things bright and fair and gay. To my home, my love, my England. For years our women had no say, no right to work or equal pay. God help the crippled and the gay, the fragile flowers of England. Shut the factories, shut the mines, punish those fell on hard times, while they honor them who do the crimes, the greedy men of England. England green and England grey, look out on a summer's day, to all things bright and fair and gay. To my home, my love, my England. How can a man respect a man who sells his house and steals his land and takes the wages from his hand to pay his own expenses? The NHS, our England's jewel, is bartered by Westminster's fool to justify his public school and military defences. England green and England grey, look out on a summer's day, to all things bright and fair and gay. To my home, my love, my England. Sing the songs of old John Bull, Cecil Sharp and John and Paul. Come English folk, come one and all, to the sweet songs of our England. Take my hand and walk with me down the back roads to the sea, where in spite of all we'll both agree there is none so sweet as England. England green and England grey, look out on a summer's day, to all things bright and fair and gay, to my home, my love, my England, England green and England grey. Look out on a summer's day, to all things bright and fair and gay, to my home, my love, my England. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, I have time for one more. Thank you so much. I'm going to do, this is my Appalachian Dulcimer from Camberley. I got this when I went to see Joni Mitchell when I was a kid. We used to hitchhike up to London, and we went to see Joni Mitchell preview her Blue album. And we got there and it was sold out. And the guys felt sorry for us in our little shorts and our silly hair. And they let us sit in the choir seats. So I got to hear the whole of the Blue album from About Me to You from Joni Mitchell, which was an amazing experience. And I fell in love 3 times that day, once with Blue, once with Joni Mitchell, and once with this. And so I'm going to do one song. Anyway, I went back home and my mate said, that's an Appalachian Dulcimer, I'll make you one. And this is it. This is a song from the song cycle I've written called 12 Silk Handkerchiefs. It's about the triple trawler disaster in Hull in 1968. And it's now a touring show. And we're at Grimsby on Friday the 13th. Of September. We're in Grimsby. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm sure it'll be fabulous. But there are information again on the net. Please come along if you can. And so I'll do this song to finish off. And this is the song about the women. As you know, the trawler men, very superstitious. Women weren't allowed onto the boats, and so the women processed the fish, worked in the fish houses. And this is you have to suspend your disbelief for a moment while I sing I Am a Fish House Woman. All right, okay. Don't want to break anything, it all looks terribly expensive. I am a fish house woman, my husband works away. He's a decky on the trawlers, and I work a 9-hour day. My knife is sharp and canny, some say just like my tongue. My mother was a skinner till the freezing took her lung. In our apron whites like angels, 6 girls to every table. We slice the silver darlings as long as we are able. I lay the kit so pretty, each 2 pounds and a dozen. Warm water in a bucket to keep our hands from frozen. Cut 'em quick, cut 'em clean, keep 'em safe, keep 'em dry. We are born on Nestle Road, and upon the ice we die. You'll never get me trolling, not for £1,000. But how men folk risk their foolish lives as another boat goes down, while they're working for their families. We're fighting for their rights, for the good Lord and the company, to keep 'em safe tonight. Sing it with me. Cut 'em quick, cut 'em clean, keep 'em safe, keep 'em safe, keep 'em dry, keep 'em dry. We are born on Nestle Road, on Nestle Road, and upon the ice, and upon the ice we die. With a good coat wrapped around me to keep my bones from shaking, and a fellowship of sisters to keep our hearts from breaking. I am a fish house woman, my husband works away for 3 weeks on the trawlers, and I work a 9-hour day. Cut 'em quick, cut 'em clean, keep 'em safe, keep 'em dry. We are born on Nestle Road, and upon the ice we die. Cut 'em quick, cut 'em clean, keep 'em safe, keep 'em dry. We are born on Hazel Road, and upon the ice we die. I am a fish house woman, my husband works away.